think we're fairly well set up here. Our mic. Okay. All right, OBS. All right, so we'll start by sharpening. I would love to do a little meditation first, but it looks like I'm running out of time. Where are the blades? Where are the blades? Needle eraser. There's the book. So I've got some of these old Contes from the 60s. Possibly at the latest the 80s. So that'll be the handheld, but mostly I'm going to use the stick form today. Oh, I totally forgot to set up a light. C'est la vie. You guys can still see what's going on in here. Auto settings. Let's see, these are pretty old, so they might not be any good actually. I got them from a lady who was clearing out her mother's estate. Oh yeah, she's crackly. So I got this box of really old drawing stuff, charcoals and Conte, old looking labels. That just cracks all the way through it. This might be no good. I'll try the other one. I'm not sure that this is even the right color. Got another break. How unfortunate. It's the thing with free stuff. You never know what you're going to get. We'll try the brighter one, which is probably a lot closer to the sanguine color I'll be using in the drawing today. Using red chalk, or in our case we're actually using Conte brand. So this isn't going to erase very well, and in fact the last time I did this, geez, must have been when I was in art school. It's not my regular material. do. We're getting close. This is the 5-minute warning. All right. So you can skip ahead. Oh yeah, there's cracks on this one too. If you're not live and you're watching this as a playback, archive playback, just skip ahead. Unless you want this time to sharpen your drawing devices as well. Oh yeah, lucked out on that one. Or I'll be a little fatalistic and say it was meant to be. Oh, and then it busts. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna keep this little piece. Give it another try, and then I'm going to the sticks. This isn't like, yeah, broken all the way through. It's not like pit pastel or anything. It's quite dry, almost sandy and coarse. But these were free, so it's worth a try. See if I can get anything out of them. Just make them real short to start. Then I can look and see where the, yeah, you can just see cracks all throughout it. Probably just dried out, hang around in someone's drawer for decades. Yeah, cracked all the way through. But it's cool to see like the old labels on there. Made in France. Maybe I'll just focus it myself. But mostly I'll be using these unfiltered ales. What is that about? What is that doing in there? Ah. So I'll be using the Conte Apéry. This is the sanguine, the kind of red chalk colors, which you can see here in pencil form, but they're no good. Maybe at the break, I know I have some more. Break, no pun intended. I'll have a look here. So this is what we're using. They're not sharpened or sanded in any way. I might even start out with this little piece. By the looks of it, the Michelangelo used the far darker one. Minute and a half left, and then we'll get this bad boy show on the road. I will refocus here. Auto. And I'll go up to the piece that I'll be drawing from. Just so you get an idea. Look at that delay. So in just 30 seconds or so, we'll start drawing this Michelangelo here. And if you're joining in late, well, you can rewind. Ladies and gentlemen, reptiles and rapscallions, it's time to begin. So I'll just tilt this camera back down. Like I said, you can rewind back. You can see the screen. Just type in Michelangelo chalk drawing to Google and you'll probably find this bad boy. I'll just readjust this camera to our surface. Whoop, 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 whoop. I think that looks pretty good. So, as always, I will be using the Pontomoro timing. I actually looked up Pontomoro timing, the Pontomoro technique, the time management. A technique used a timer to break down work intervals into 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. Each interval is known as a pomodoro, the Italian word for tomato. And the way I had learned about it was that's how long it took to make a tomato sauce. But actually, the truth is he had this little timer, that kitchen timer that looked like a tomato. And he had used it through school and his studies to control his timing. So we'll do 25 minutes. I won't start immediately. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing. And I've got some interesting stuff to talk about today. Because there is a method behind my madness in the new year, we, in this live stream, we will be doing master copies up until February. Because I've been asked by the AU Arts, formerly ACAD, to do a presentation on how to do master copies to study figure. So I selected Michelangelo today, a chalk drawing, because Michelangelo was so fantastic at describing the turns and the muscle mounds, and just made his drawings just look so good and full and alive. And so, you know, it allows us to talk a little bit about the anatomy, but also understand what he was doing and thinking in order to, you know, get the results that he was after. So without much further ado, I just imagine in my head kind of a quadrant, and the body kind of travels up. So I'm just going to start with big, simple shapes. And then we'll go from there. In fact, I'll even draw the quadrants today. They're in my mind's eye, but so it might not be entirely perfect. We're hoping to learn something from this, not do an exact replica, and I'll talk through some of the muscles and things too as we go. I'll just bring this up. So, just blocking in right now. I'll just do quadrants, just to help me out. You can measure these if you need to. Hopefully, you don't need to. So going down the center of his back. Kind of capturing the gesture. Now I haven't used this material in so long, I actually don't even think it's erasable really. Let's see. Not bad. It's not like drawing with the 1710s, that's for sure. He's got like an indication of a face up here. That's where the ear's gonna go. I'm studying from a study. I kind of wish this was a little bit redder. Let's try this one. Yeah, that's more like it. And it's Michelangelo, so let's not hold ourselves to feeling like we fail if we can't do it as well. I believe this was a study he did for the Vatican Sistine Chapel. And if in the time that we have, I go fairly quick, because this isn't as rendered out as some of the other stuff that we do here, I might do a second one. Not entirely sure what will transpire here today. Okay. Feel a little rusty. I've been mostly painting since the break and doing some cartooning. That's good. Leg shoots down. Ankle. Heel. So I'm using the corner of the square chalk rather than sharpening it, just trying to utilize the edge to do what I need here. Okay, that gets the back. Maybe I might be a little bit more cartoony. This literally was the cartoon. Michelangelo probably would have done this study, put parchment or some sort of paper over top of it, and then ran a little wheel with spikes through it over all the lines. Then they would take a sock full of charcoal, and they would put the drawing on top of where the fresco was, and they would tamp it against. And then the dust would go through the tiny little holes that they had put, that were left behind from like the sock basically. And then they would have a little dotted outline on the fresco wall to capture the drawing. So lots of these may have been studies, and to the right I can see that he's doing sort of an arm study that were probably used throughout the Sistine Chapel. So we've got the deltoid here. He does a really interesting thing with his crosshatch as well. As we degrade and finish this arm, you'll be able to see kind of his shorthand tricks as I'm drawing it. So the armpit is just a little off from the center line there. and the triceps down there. I mean, he after drawing the stuff for the Sistine Chapel for the 17 years, and just looking at this drawing, it doesn't look like there's a lot of preliminary work. Like he may have smudged a bit, and you can see his sketchiness in the example. But I mean, it's Michelangelo. He's just that good. And so we can learn a lot from a guy like that, can't we? I've been really struggling lately with, what is my art? Like, why am I doing this? The new year brings out these things. And I woke up from a crazy dream last night with, a creative vision, And the inspiration comes from wherever. I still want to keep up this practice, being a professional, but I think the work that I dreamt of is a very, very far departure from what we do at the atelier. No figures, aggressively bright colors using spray cans. So it's something I want to do this year for sure, follow it. I also dreamt that I repainted my own car with spray paint, pink and purple. And though my car doesn't really need a paint job right now, got me thinking. I woke up at 5 a.m. wondering about it. Okay, so we've got some contours here. We'll talk about some of the anatomy shortly. We got to get it in there. I'm not planning out big shapes because it's already translated by the artist. I'm kind of skipping some of the construction steps I would advise if you're drawing from life. Michelangelo is the best at drawing knees. The other thing is the muscles and stuff that he draws, they look like more accentuated mounds than they are. They're like bulbous all the time. And I feel like, I'll drop this butt here. I feel like that's something that I want to pick up and learn from this. This is not as a forgiving material as charcoal. You see, it's in the paper now. Over the break, I did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle quiz to see which famous artist I was. Hey, Keith. And I did the test on numerous websites because I didn't like the solution. Turns out I'm Donatello. When I was a kid, Donatello was my favorite because he was the nerd. But not just that. Just get that in there. The bow staff, I was in karate at a fairly young age when Ninja Turtles were cool for my age group. And I always liked Donatello also because the bow staff, the horizontal there. The bow staff is, in my opinion, the best weapon to learn because that means you can just pick up anything. A stick, this charcoal. Okay. So we've got some shapes coming in here now. Maybe I'll work. Oh, my head's in the way. Aha! Might have to adjust the camera down. You don't want that. Let's see. There we go. I can zoom out as well. A little bit. Okay. We got the trap going around. Beneath the landmark, this is the achromium process. And then we see the deltoid here. We'll just stop that there for now. Michelangelo also did. So let's start with going down this V-shaped area here, and it kind of, the muscle looks like a stingray to me, the trapezius. It's going to tuck in underneath here. Like that. And there's all these little mounds that start to happen that are, it's complicated, this area on top of the scapula, because we have the deltoid attaches and goes over top. And then we have the teres major and minor in here, which we'll see as little divots. So we will start putting that in. So I'm trying to draw the same direction as Michelangelo did. It's almost like, you know, when you look at Leonardo da Vinci's drawings and stuff, these guys used crosshatch really well, because they often had to work in ink. So this guy comes up here. Eraser. Coccyx, or the sacrum at the bottom there. There we go. We'll enhance this with some whites as well. There we go. Just the outside of the lat and the oblique. Nice twist with this body. I'm just going to clean that up. And curve to show the twisting. Curve this line a little bit more. Ooh, that's tough. I'm sweating already. am on a cleanse, as I do every single year. The Master Cleanse. It's lemon, maple syrup. I'm on day 3, which is the hardest one, they say. It's been a little difficult keeping my focus throughout the day, but I am feeling great. Gotta be cautious not to drag your dirty hand over it either. Back of the neck. Two muscles that attaches to that little divot at the back of your head. Here's the front of the trap. Showing that twist, and then right there sits the bottom of the jaw. So the ear comes around, got the little Y. Show some hair. There's the other chalk that I was using. Gonna definitely need to fix the heck out of this because lots of it's coming off the paper. Okay, let's go back to this deltoid muscle. I might smudge this, I'm not sure. It actually looks quite nice on this paper. Two and a half minutes left here. I love this area of the serratus. That interweaving of the muscles. Here it's being pulled tight. Wonder where he found these muscle men. Kind of an indication of ribs here. Muscles on ribs. Down at the bottom as well, we have the separation of the lat and the oblique here. So that's that nice dark area. go there. It's far different than just drawing from a photo or drawing from life, because you know the crosshatch and the lines, that the artist's decision's already there. Before the break, that Bouguereau copy we did was still it was a value study, so it was still my take on his work, whereas this one is really trying to copy how the artist drew. So I'm still looking for the values, but I'm given some of the directions of the line. So, which is good because my brain's not working at full power here. I don't really have to think, just practice. I mean, I do have to think, because I got to think about what is it that he's trying to show. It's not simply copying. That's what we have computers for. Okay. We're going to take 5. Get some fluids. Maybe even wash my hands here. We'll get back to it, because I took some notes down here of what I wanted to talk about. As we get going and I don't have to think as much, we'll get talking. Maybe go wash my hands. Hey. Minute and a half left. Oh, come on. Too steep. Okay. 25 minutes. So I did post that I was doing this on social media, but I am on also a little bit of a social media cleanse. So I just posted and ran away. The new year is a great time for getting your ducks in a row. A lot of friends say dumb stuff to me and they're like, oh, it's just another day. But to me, it's important to take that opportunity to better yourself. You know, what if you don't reflect? It's like, oh, I'll always do it tomorrow. I mean, I don't get the things done I want to in a day. So for me, the new year is a time to cleanse and figure out what the heck we're going to be doing in here. Good time for self-reflection, not just another day. And because of this opportunity with AU Arts, and we're still closed, we're still on lockdown, so I figured 2 birds with 1 stone, do some master copies and learn from it for one thing, but also it's something that we can reference in the future. So right there. This triangle of light. That's a flexion point of the infraspinatus. I think I said that right. I haven't had to use that word very often. It is explained in the Asaro sculpture in a weird way, like a big triangle cut out. And it's very clear in this drawing. I'm using a far more bluntly. Michelangelo's drawing may have been 6 feet tall, and I haven't sharpened it to a point, so it's a rough version. So here we have the serratus. They weave and fan. In and out of each other. There is some thickness here to the lat. So quite a heavy chalk line. This whole side's in the dark. If there was a core shadow, just to show, it would go down here. Down the leg. So this will be our darkest area. I may in the end have a much smoother looking version here. Maybe I'll choose to smooth it out with some stumps or my finger. He's twisting and throwing his arm this way, so that's giving us some indication of the ribs pushing through the muscles of the back. You see that on really lean models as well. I find that Michelangelo's models always look like they're like that thick buff. They're like they've been cutting down trees all day or something. They've got dense farmer muscles. Like everything's more bulbous that he does. So the trap comes up from here and up. Following the form a little bit. So I'm going from the dark towards the light, just because when it's like a check mark. When you land the drawing material down, it tends to be a little bit thicker, and then you can feather it by pulling this direction away from the paper. Go like that. I'm squinting my eyes a little bit so that I can see where the darkest areas are and enhancing them a little bit more. So letting a little bit less of that paper come through. You know, this is almost solid up here. I don't got a lot of leeway here. He was using a much darker sanguine, like this. Maybe he just used both. It's a cooler brown. I think I saw this drawing in Holland over a year ago. It's actually pretty small if I remember correctly, if it was this exact one. Pencil might have been the way to go. But I got these nice blocks. I never use it. I've had these since art school. These might have actually been a donated set. Because of these weird things about ale. But I remember we were told to buy all this stuff, and then we tried it, one class. Try it out. But no one ever taught us how to use it. Because I think this is a little bit of a passé material. It's nice to draw really big figure drawings with it. So cross contour here, almost describing a plane, a shadow plane. Finding the darks. I think they used to call these crayons too. They don't have wax in them that I know of. It's actually earth. So it's just like a pigment stick, basically. Okay, so on this side of the leg, there's that tendon. And we can see it flattening out from the inside of the glute there. And we're going to describe that line coming up from the fold here. And then I'll curve my value around. You see there's an angle to it. Ten more minutes. I wonder if we could do this, do two in this session. I did select a few chalk drawings. Not my preferred medium. Sometimes I think that the crosshatch lines are used to describe the direction of the muscle fibers. Sometimes they're the direction of the form. Sometimes there's a cross contour. There's some value here. There we go. It's a very thick, heavy outline. And then the hamstring or the bicep femoris underneath, hanging. It looks flexed. So you have compression and then expansion. So this is the stretched out part going up the front of the leg. So this becomes more bulbous. Glad I'm wearing my dark pants today because all this chalk is falling down. Basically all the way dark. Just gonna keep feathering here. helping enhance more darks. So we got some of the structures starting to come through now on the muscles. Curving this way. This muscle curves this way. So starting to use the direction now of the muscle mound to make it seem more voluminous. Bleh. There we go. So it's like, don't forget to describe now all these individual forms. How would it feel to go over them with your hand? There we go. We're starting to get some heaviness in the masses here. These clear areas might be where we enhance it with white chalk. Folds of the fabric. Doing it more with the tip now. Even though his are lighter, I'm still gonna just, to get the smallness of that tip, just use the point a little bit. And squinting down, so I'm starting to have to put in my own mapping. Darker of the forms, not following his lines exactly, but trying to keep the direction that tibia tuberosity. Should actually move this up. Captures the roundness of the front of the shin there in this position. And a little shadow at the calf. Okay, so not looking bad. Take 5. I think we might be able to finish this in the next session and then do a second one. It's all just practice, right? I think that's a good idea, if we can. I've got this lower leg to do down here, some shading here and here, and the face. I'm gonna take a mental break here, and maybe drink some fluids. Oh. Cayenne's hot in that one. we'll try to get through this in 25 more minutes. And if you're joining me, I'll try to be more concise with my thinking now. Let's go back up to the top and finish off this head detail. From the ears at a little angle, we've got where our eyes are going to be. He drew this head to look like a baby. But, you know, maybe it's just a placeholder. Actually, I really like it. Kind of reminds me of cartooning. I'm doing a cartooning course because my friend Amy Golan sent me this cartooning course book anonymously, but I knew who it was. Came to the studio, and my drawing has been lackluster. I was teaching animation. I was doing everything digitally. So now I'm doing this 15-week long course through this book on cartooning just to keep the fun alive, you know? Cartooning is a lot of fun, and it goes back to my roots. I didn't want to do realistic art, and even now I'm questioning if it was the right idea for me at all. This is even a little bit cartoony. That's something about the new year, right? That gets you thinking about what it is you're doing. It's a struggle, and it's really important, I think, to have the skill rather than, you know, being a lazy contemporary artist that just like doesn't have skill to make their ideas real, I guess. But I'm still teaching animation and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But it's mostly, you know, using that computer to move things. It's not the same as drawing because you have your contour editor tools and stuff like that. So this is really the way to be, the way to practice, the way to get better. It's just doing it in the analog. Anyways, I'm doing this course and reading some books and finishing my ornithology. I'm working on that ornithology degree. It's not easy, but I get to learn lots about dinosaurs because birds are reptiles. Believe it or not, they are the closest living thing to they're a living dinosaur, really, which is a weird way to think about it. They look so cute and not threatening, but the early ones, they had beaks with teeth. Archaeopteryx, that was the first winged dinosaur that they found with feathers, which makes me think about Jurassic Park a lot different now because, you know, those dinosaurs looked more like reptiles, but really we know now that they had feathers. So in terms of the history of art and like where we come from and why some of us are doing this pursuit of mastery in this lifetime, you know who you are. Keith, you're out there, you're doing it. Oh, Jeffrey, you're doing it too. In the beginning with cave painting and stuff, you know, far before the Renaissance, and there's been these new discoveries of cave painting, you know. You can really see where art began with this exact material, red earth. But art had mythic or religious or spiritual purpose, you know, whether they were getting high in these caves and trying to show the spiritual side of their journeys. You know, art's purpose was very different with its spiritual significance. Then, you know, come along yeah, I'm doing big jumps here, but then come along the Greeks, and they thought of man as God, or the beauty that man has relating to the gods. And so they made Hellenistic art, especially, very, very realistic looking artwork. You know, something that Michelangelo looked at, like the Belvedere torso and stuff. The things that inspired the Renaissance artists were these earlier works from the time of the Greeks. You know, not the Egyptians. That was kind of boring, stiff stuff. But they were able to show emotion, the twisting of the body. So the Renaissance is looking at classical history. And who's paying for all that? Well, the church. So there's still a spiritual bend. You know, whether the Greeks are showing the gods, the cave paintings are showing some sort of spiritual way. Well, the Renaissance, although they were doing technical mastery, that's where we get all this stuff, but they still had a reasoning that was spiritual, you know? And so the Sistine Chapel shows, in a lot of the gods are like Greek gods, but for a Christian allegory. And so there was still a spiritual aspect to art. But as the ateliers came about and stuff, you get all these people and they're going for craftsmanship now, because there's technical skill developed through that time. But you don't necessarily, with all that, even in the French academics, get great artists. You get your few masterpieces, few and far between. But there was a way to measure art based off its technical merits and craftsmanship, right? So, you know, this is kind of what we're trying to do here, is have good craftsmanship, have some technical abilities, so that we can apply them in any way, shape, or form. And you'll see why I'm talking about this, what I'm trying to get to in terms of what our modern situation is. Well, once the industrial era comes in, and there's wars, and let's say we'll call this modernism, right? The modern era, industrialness. You know, we also have photography. So you can mechanically reproduce things. You don't, put the timer on, bunny. You don't necessarily need that same craftsmanship. And that's kind of where, you know, we end off at Bouguereau, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and instead the focus is more on Monet and Picasso and Van Gogh and all these other modern artists. I'm not going to list them all. And they started to be about the individuality of the expression of the artist. They got away from the schools with their stiff control. Like, they were going against it. And they wanted to show what the artist felt, you know. The artist is important. So before that, you're making these things for the church, so they're spiritual. But it's a commission. And then if you look at the Dutch portrait artists, what are they doing? Well, it's the rich people. So they went away from these large, grand, kind of like utopian friezes and stuff, telling allegories, and it starts to be like, well, okay, well, here's the wealthy, still the wealthy, and so artists start making things for sale. You know, it becomes the marketplace of ideas, and so the Dutch liked their portraits, and so that's what a lot of the artists of that time did. So it's now becoming disjointed in that it's not these big scenes, it's not these big stories, it's just a person. And not to say that there isn't a value to that or technical skill, but art's now more about scientific reasoning, and it starts to change in the modern era where they're trying to do illusions almost, like not trying to give the illusion of the picture plane space, but from Cézanne onwards, who's flattening the art all the way up to Picasso, moving towards becoming abstract. There's perceptual tricks. There's flatness, like cubism, or the camera obscura. So science is starting to take the mythic out of artwork, I think. Right? There's distortion. It becomes really grotesque. There's that show Hitler had, dire Kunst or whatever, and it was like to show how modernism was ugly and terrible. Now, I'm not saying that by any stretch of the means. I'm just saying that in art, that's the changes that are starting to happen. It's almost like the evolution of art. Let's say that's what I'm trying to talk about here. How it's evolving, so that we can find out maybe where we are today. This grotesque breaking up of the body, like cubism and stuff, it takes spiritual out of it. And it makes it about, this is the top view, side view, bottom view, flattening it out, and not having the representational skill to create this illusion that the picture plane is transcendental, is a space that you go into, something like that. And instead it is, it goes towards abstract. And here's what's interesting. As it moves towards abstract, like Kandinsky and Rothko, Mondrian, they believed that they were spiritual. They looked at Blavatsky and other transcendentalists, and so they felt that art could be used again, not for just the marketplace and whatnot, but to actually bring spirituality back in, which is where it kind of started. Well then, and you look at those symbols like squares and triangles, that was used in alchemy, but it's also used in the art of the East, and it's used in Islamic tile art, and even, African art, stuff like that, which supposedly Picasso found his inspiration from, let's say. Okay? Although I wouldn't say that if they looked at it, they would be like, what the hell is that? That's not what we're doing. Okay, so now we're at this place where art is for art's sake, but when it gets abstracted, it moves it away from the viewer being able to understand it. It becomes like, the art world, the hoity-toity, I think of Rothko, who's regarded as, abstract expressionist. And I remember when I was a kid, because the Canadian Gallery bought one of his, square pieces, and everyone's like, well, my kid could do that, but your kid didn't do that. But that idea that people couldn't look at that and get that it was spiritual or transcendental, it was, it goes into formalism here, art for art's sake, or truth in the materials. And then it becomes materialistic. You have your pop art, your Andy Warhol, your Jeff Koons. Those are bad words to me, by the way. And these guys start to make art a commodity, which isn't a terrible thing, but that's far, far, far from the spiritual aspects of art. Definitely not very spiritual at all. Great for investment bankers, I guess. But it's on the road to where we are today. If we go to art school to train to make products, which we don't, we go there to learn ideas and to find ourselves, right? Because the individual is still the main thing here with art. Which I don't think is very pragmatic. I think it's egotistical and short-sighted, for sure. That my ideas are the best, because I get to sit here and live on the back of the masters and call myself an artist, which means I can do certain things, but you don't have to be able to do certain things in a contemporary art world. It's basically, I could say that this is about, I can do it crappy and say this is about whatever, because it's interpreted, its content is interpreted based off, well, my art history degree is in feminism, so I'm going to look at your work from this angle. And so artists kind of pushed away the audience a little bit in order to be create, and it's like, I'm doing this, you know. And so up until the 80s, we really lost the desire to create meaningful works that use this old technique of using the old rules. We moved away from what the modernists hated, for sure. So guess what? Now we're postmodern, right? We don't have to do those things. We don't have to represent anything. We can make piss Christ in a jar. You can do, Salman Rushdie. He pissed off plenty of people because he highlighted the art, right? So he pissed off the Muslims because he depicted Muhammad in the satanic verses. So not everyone thought that was art, right? And so sometimes the nihilistic approach, that the freedom from chaos and novelty and ego, like that's a good marketplace commodity, but it's not necessarily an art for everyone. It definitely, it's more like shock art came about, and it turned into, well, let's just do the craziest thing we can do. I'll crucify myself to a car, and that's a hard art world to be in, because it's just about how far do you go, and that feels like to me is where I entered art school, and where they were kind of teaching from. I had formalist teachers, so they were very much true to the materials, which means that rather than drawing a man with chalk, I would just draw with chalk, and it would just be about the act of drawing with that material. So, I mean, there are advantages to that for sure, but I wanted to learn how to depict illusions. So the current condition, it's kind of perverse in that we can do whatever we want. You don't necessarily need training, but if you do train, it's kind of seen as a bad thing. I feel like I got trapped myself into having to do things this way, and although I learn a lot, it's not my art. It's kind of a pain, It's a technical skill, which also speaks to the professionalism of this career choice. But we're in a past postmodern time, really, and I still feel like art can transcend back to those spiritual ideas. Our art should encourage people to live more, to see things a different way, but it doesn't have to be a Trump flag being waved around. People think that art has to mean something, and so they think that it has to be political, and I don't think political art is ever really any good. It usually just looks like pop propaganda. So the individual in the modern time replaces the religious and mythic, but I feel like we've come right back around again to people wanting to learn the skill. But it doesn't mean the fact that you can depict something realistically and doing the craft and the illusion is important enough to keep up, but that doesn't mean that's what the work has to be. So I've had a real struggle self-defining in what I'm doing, because I have this atelier here, and it's like, well, you're supposed to be doing this. So back to what I was talking about earlier, I had some dreams of my work, and let me tell you guys, it's not what we do here. And I'm dreaming of crazy things to do with paint. So of course I'll keep up my practice, but more and more I feel like I was forced into this because I'm of European descent, that I'm supposed to draw and behave a certain way. But I don't want my life to be not memorable or forgotten because I didn't go and explore these other things. And so while it's important to definitely have craft, in my opinion, You also have to love what you're doing. If you're going, because we have this individualness to art, it's a very selfish act these days. I don't want to create art for a marketplace. I had done that. I had helped start at the Motion Gallery, and I sold $20,000 or $30,000 of stuff out of there. And I saw things in the market, especially here in Calgary, change. People weren't buying big paintings anymore. You know, maybe that's fallout from the market crash of 2008. Now I feel like people are going to buy art again. We have a lot of people who are trying new skills and then realizing maybe it's not for them. Well, the advantage of that is for those of us who've devoted our lives to it, we'll still be in the market as it changes, you know? So I don't want to be making stuff because it's popular. Like, I'm not going around doing hipster art. God forbid. There is a certain style and look, but I definitely do want to bring some more neon because that's a material we have today that will differentiate from other artists from the past, maybe. But sometimes people come here and they do things like a photocopy, like to look old, I guess is what I'm trying to say, instead of from their soul. I don't even know if that's the right word. But Shona Ray came in my studio the other day to check up on things. And I haven't seen anyone in a long time during this lockdown. It's actually, I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with it because I've spent my whole life or in the studio. You guys right now joining me, you know what I'm talking about. You spend your time by yourself. And I like myself a lot. I like spending time with me. I'm the best date I've ever had. Although, you know, this is what we do. I don't know if I'm the funnest date I've ever had. I'm not as adventurous on my own. Wait, you guys see that? Sorry. I'm just getting the toes in down here. Okay. Drawing this freehand, not measuring. It's risky, but that's what Michelangelo did. Oh, he's even got the nail drawn in there. Ankle. Okay, that's rough. Very, very rough. The side of the foot, a little bit of flesh. All the way down to the toe. How are we doing? 8 minutes. I thought I'd get done. I think I'll get done. I think we'll get done. Done enough for this one, and then we'll pick another one. Getting the reps in. It's like working out. I dreamt that I painted my car, my favorite color, pink and purple, with spray cans. And I'm wondering if I can do it. You know, do I have to sand it first? I'll look into it. How much prep is there? Can I just spray it in the street and not get caught? Or do I have to go to an auto body shop and rent a bay? Do I care enough to actually do it proper? Or can I just do it the fun way? I feel like if I got into a car like that every day, I would be pretty happy. Because everyone's cars are so boring. It's like gray, blue, silver. The guy gets pulled over a lot, red. But I figured it'd be a lot more fun to have something that stands out, even though it might make me a heat score. Having to have things perfect, that's another issue that we face. I'm doing a painting right now, which is right over there. I don't know if you guys can see any of it, but I like sat and stared at it for 4 days because I was too afraid to just go forward with what I did today. But Shona Ray came in here and gave me permission. And it's funny because it's like, I know that, and that's what I tell my students, but at the same time, it can be a little bit debilitating. The other thing is, I had a vision in my mind, and I'm so far off that vision now, and it's becoming its own thing. You know, the fun of letting it take you where it wants to go. I guess that's the individualistic, like selfish part of being an artist. But definitely we're not rock stars, you know? We're not. If you want to be famous, go be an actor or direct a film. Because the time for this type of stuff and getting famous off it, that passed a long time ago. It's still a worthwhile venture for sure. But this whole idea of, and what they teach at the art schools, that you're gonna like get super famous, or I mean, there's some luck. Some people do. If you live in New York or LA, you probably have a far better chance. But Calgary? I guess we have like metric and stuff. We have some people get famous here. But that's not why you do it. I hope. Five minutes. So, it's not perfect. I'm just going to pick some other spots. I actually thought we'd talk a lot more about the muscles today. Maybe in the next one. It has to be a little bit rough, just because of the size of the marks I can make. I might end up just smudging this whole thing. Bottom of the trapezius here needs some tone. That could be a little bit lighter. Not too light though. I'm just building up some darks here. Build it up with more material. We're just going for good enough today. What can we learn from it? We're not trying to make an exact replica. Just getting in our drawing. You know, can we capture that twist? I would say, if anything, if you want to do an exact drawing, copying Raphael or something too, do it in graphite. It's much easier to control each crosshatch line than this stuff. This is a little bit of a cumbersome material. I'm sure over time I could learn to control it. If I was smudging it, for sure. But with 3 minutes left, we're just going to try to bring this to a resolution. Maybe find some of the darker areas. How long did Michelangelo spend on this, I wonder? Probably more than 70 minutes. So maybe I'll just freeze time for a second here. Thinking about just doing a couple enhancements with white. Where's my white? And then we'll call that in and we'll take a little break. So the high points, down this leg. Oh yeah. This white has, it feels like it's still Conte. No, this is Generals. Did I get that ankle? Okay. It does make a big difference. Maybe a little bit on the heel. Do a little here, a little here. So just wherever there's light spots, we'll just push it a little further. And some more white. This isn't quite where I want it. Erase out a little bit more. There we go. Sure. Sure. That's good. Whatever. Just a study. Should we put some here? Here? Why not? I think that's okay. Not gonna worry about that too much. There it is. A copy of one of the Michelangelo drawings. Number 1 for tonight. Let's hope the next one's easier. Or harder. So I might just spray that quick as we take a break because I am gonna flip this page over. So I'm putting 5 minutes on and I'm getting out the hairspray. Hairspray is a good enough mixer. Oh, I don't actually know what this is going to do to it. Will it ruin it? I don't know. Hairspray is my preferred. It smells better. Actually, it darkens it too. Interesting. It's probably just as toxic as fixative, but that's what I'm using. Let's find another image. What do we got here? Nope. Too horizontal. Oh, this might be better done in pencil too. He puts like baby heads on this. Another sitter. Another sitter. So yeah, Michelangelo study. Oh, that's a nice one. We'll change materials then. "13 seconds. I'm gonna change to graphite, I think, or just Conte. This one's a lot more loose. let me just pull it up on the screen and then I'll put it under the camera. I think I can do this. I'll just tilt the camera. So, there we go. It's like this guy turning. It's cartoony. You can see the marks are a lot thicker and bigger, which suited the material I was just drawing with a lot better. But it's black, so we will use the proper. Hey, let me just check that. Let's zoom out a little bit. What? I think I gotta move this higher. We're not quite seeing everything. Yeah. Okay. That's better. This thing's right over my head, so. Okay. Striding man. Let's tackle another one. Just getting our feet wet. You know, I really wish I could do this every single day if I had the drive and not the busy schedule. Okay, so what am I going to draw with? What am I going to draw with? Awesome, I didn't sharpen anything. So, we'll just use one of these dull Contes. Why not? Why not? So once again, I just want to start. I want to figure out, you know, what's the balance, what's my center. I gotta move up here. Hey. Okay, that's a little bit better. So, well, I'll just sketch out, starting from the head. I feel like that might be a little bit big. I'll go through it like I do in my other classes. Head, chest. Whew. It's a tough one here. Chest, because it's so twisted. Hips. I'm just trying to find out where the center is about. Because I feel like his butt's below it. And it's not just a feeling, I'm sure of it. Okay, there's my hip. So that's the side of the hip, as if I was looking at a cylinder. This is kind of a good example. Like, without spilling, like that. That's here. So I'll see the trochanter right about there. Okay. Oh yeah, I put 25 minutes on. It's like I'm new at this. It's like this is the first time I've done this. Okay. I just want to check you guys on YouTube. Okay, you're still here. Hey guys, thank you for staying with me today. It's a tough racket these days. So we'll start with 22 minutes because I think I've used up some. Front of the chest. His head's turned away. So then I've got the masses. These are the things that don't expand or contract. Now if I can, I want to find that center line. And what I mean down the body. Or how tilted the shoulders are. So I see the shoulders are one cranial mass down. So that shoulder, that deltoid's going to be around here. And the arm's going to stick way out. Okay. And then, so I've got diagonals, shoulder to shoulder. And then I would go hip to hip, but we can't see it. So then let's put the limbs in. So as I was saying, the trochanter is about there. And it goes down to the knee. Just to take a measure. Knee's about there. In alignment. Just checking an alignment here. Right, if the ear is right here. Maybe not that high. We can be a lot more sketchy too with this one. The neck goes down. We'll compare these at the end beside the screen and we'll see, you know, how accurate things are. At the top of the chest is the first bone. Second bone, you know. Turning of the head. Slight angle down. All right. I think I'm doing okay for size. I think I'm doing okay. We've got the jaw coming down. About that angle. Why not? Sternocleidomastoid has two ends on it. One to the clavicle, which is here. Over and up. It looks to me maybe I put my shoulder a little too far down for this scale that I'm drawing here. So the first one should go here. Second one. On that chest. Third one, oh, we go outside of our bounding box. And in fact, if I measure, my chest is a little big, but it's usually 4 cranial masses. I should have made the head a little bit bigger. But we're not so committed yet that we're not stuck. Head to jaw is equal to where the arm comes in. Okay. The deltoid's gonna come down to here. Couple splits, couple highlight areas. Get the kinks out. Cranial mass and length. We're good. We're good. The pectoral muscle, scooping around the front. Michelangelo is a little confused on here where that nipple is. We'll put it there. That deltoid. Let's go back up here for a second. Figure out where the that vertebrae is. It's about there. 7 cervical vertebrae. Vertebra. And then we can give it some muscle. Give that muscle there. And then the back. And that's where our line shall be. That split line down the middle there. Makes them a little bit wider as well. But this remains the same. Okay, at about the neck fold, where it comes in here, we start to see the raising up of the scapula and shoulder muscles. Now I'm working this without a plan really. Like there's a small little bit of something there, but we'll see how good this turns out because this is going to be very quick tonight, just because we're doing 2 drawings to keep ourselves motivated. Alright. It's a tougher eraser. Okay, so that's the back arm there. I might not get all the cross hatching in, so got to figure out what's important here in terms of making this drawing look like what it is. It's interesting because we get to deal with some of the same marks we made in the last one. Some of the same folds in the back, even though it's turned the other way. All right. So the tricep comes up. Oh yeah, these are so fun to draw. And then we have our elbow. 2 planes for that. What about the bicep? The bicep, the elbow to the pit is kind of equal in parallel to that bicep. So maybe my bicep is a lot bigger. And there's a little bit of a double bump on it. That's not an art term. But it's not flat. That's for sure. It's a bigger ball at the top. Okay. So we've got our turkey leg here. Make the arm a little more straight. There we go. Forearm right at the top. I've got some friends who have this part of their chest, this thoracic arch sticks out very far. This guy's does in this case. So let's just move the wrist up a little bit. There we go. Good enough. I'm on a real good enough kick right now. If it's good enough. You feel good enough about it? I just put these to social media anyways. I really am taking a social media break. But I'll get these put up so that people don't think I'm dead or suicidal. Definitely not. Just loving the silence and not being manic myself. It's my own problem. But along with this cleanse, doing a little bit of a cleanse from the social media crap. Twist. What? Awesome. Awesome. 7 minutes. We're doing great. He drew through at this point. I guess we should just copy it verbatim on that one. Top of the leg in line with the armpit. Yes, sir. It is. Okay. Knuckle. I feel like the forearm should be wider here, but I'm committed. Can't erase it. He's got really scratchy lines here. That must be how he started. Like really loose. It's like almost holding the pencil from the back. And this could be like really large. Especially if it's in the Sistine Chapel, this thing, you know, it's bigger than life size. Okay. I was gonna do a year-end YouTube check-in. Things got way out of hand for me in my life, but it was interesting because I wrote down, like, you know, month by month what had happened and the good things that I did, lockdown or not. I'm not letting that get me down. So it's kind of nice to check it in. I was gonna make a video, but every time I go to do video, it's like, maybe it's because I have all that video experience. I realize how much work it's going to be, and then I say, well, that's not really worth it, you know? If I was like a YouTube star that was getting paid, maybe. But so far, not really. Did a couple things, Callaway Park. I don't know, that year went by really fast. As dark and crazy as it was. And then my car got stuck, like most people's, I'm sure. And that's kind of what put the halt on everything. But it was kind of nice. My roommate was away for Christmas, so I spent Christmas by myself and the New Year. Nice and quiet house. Didn't feel like Christmas at all without family and friends. Or presents, for that matter. But still a good time. I also wanted to watch a lot more stuff, but it's not happening. I did finish a couple books, and I am listening to the Obama book on Audible. It's fantastic. Not what I expected at all. Because I had finished the Matthew McConaughey book. I love that. If you get, you know, on Audible, if you get, because I'm also reading books, but if you get someone like Obama or McConaughey who's also such a good orator, just get the Audible. Listen to them perform it. I find it a little hard to keep track of the what I'm listening to on Audible. It's more like a form of entertainment. So I'm not listening in the same way, I guess. It's passive listening, as if it were a podcast or something. Uh-oh, 2 minutes. I gotta keep moving down this body here, or I'll never get down there. Okay, landmark. Okay, let's move down. There is the Erector Spinae. I was pretty close with my butt guess there. My initial butt guess. Slightly tilt to go with the body. There's a mound on the top. I'll use this hip line that I already have in here. Comes down. These glutes. It's like he's drawing a horse here. of the butt. Okay. Just gonna take a measure. Length of the head. Okay, my butt's a little low. But we're not going for perfection here today. Just a representation. I'm going to take a measure off that knee though. I want to see. So it goes to here. Got it in the right place. It feels too low. It is what it is though. Okay. Aces. Whoa! There we go. Let's take a little wee break. You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna keep going. Because I feel like getting this done. Not like farting around here. Kind of an oval shape there. To the wrist. Okay. There's the one tendon, the other tendon at the back of the leg, and then the patella. There's a, what is that, the vastus? Whoa, got a little thick there. His use of his drawing materials, you can see the thickness and thinness, just quite masterful. I know it's obvious because I'm talking about Michelangelo here, but it's really quite exceptional. I hope to be that good one day. Okay, the calf is one head length down. Kind of ends there. And this side is almost, I say never do this, but like a parenthesis. Jeez, is that legit? Some of these lines remind me of when I was doing the Tibetan work, how they draw their cartoons. Okay. Side of the tendon there. So, fascia lata. The great trochanter is about here. We do have a bald in front of the tensor fasciae latae. Not latte, like the drink. That's up here. So we'll just get that in. There's even a little cast shadow of the arm. Yes, there would be. Okay. There's our indication of the trochanter there. And from that trochanter, down the side, once again, we have the fascia latae, the bicep femoris, the vastus lateralis. So let's just separate those right here. Oh, sorry. My head's in front. I'll just slide while I'm doing the important stuff I'm talking about. You can't see it. Amateur night. Okay. The little dimples here. There's a little bit less rhyme and reason to how this one is shaded. It's more generalized, quicker done, rougher, as it were. There is reflected light here. Go darker with this under the butt stuff. In fact, it looks blended. There's our trochanter. Okay. Try to get that a little bit darker. Sure. Kind of a triangle shape up there. Go across the butt here. I'm sharpening my pencil right now as I do this. Bulge of the butt. Fold of the butt, another fold. We don't spend a lot of time looking in the mirror at these parts, fellas, but Those folds are there. I said fellas because I don't know what you girls do in your spare time. Looks pretty wide. Okay. Gotta make this like thick enough. That looks pretty good. All right, calf. Ball to the calf is low here. The ball to the calf is high on this side. Why not? It's fun. A little bit of feathering here. I have no point on this thing anymore. Breaking all the rules. All right, let's do this. So curling kind of around the form a little bit. just to give the leg. This is the back leg. Got to give it something, right? So I'll give it a little bit of mass, a little bit of roundness, and we'll go in tight. Let's move this up. And the lines are just closer together now. Tone. Maybe indicate some turning here. Okay, 444. We'll move on up. I think, you know, there's lots we could do here, picking it out, but this is a time-sensitive drawing, I guess. Just see if I'm in the way. Forearm. What I really should just do is sharpen this pencil, but it's a crime of passion. Oh, my head again. Sorry. Hard to sit this straight. I haven't been staying up very late, so right now I'm starting to feel the tired. I've been going home by this time, winding down. Yesterday though, instead of winding down, I cleaned out all my cupboards and did some house maintenance to make it a happy place again. The day before that, it was like cleaning the bathroom. It's the new year. I feel like the new year for me is more important than, you know, people have their spring cleaning. I don't do the spring cleaning really, because hopefully it's still going to be clean. Did all my kitchen counters. I cleaned the stove. I did all this, and then my roommate comes home, and I'm sure it's probably already messy. Sounds like he's not going to be going back to work for months. So, might be camping out at the studio a little bit. Depends how crazy it gets at the house. Too much partying. I don't want that in my life. I want fun. I want life. But I don't want the insanity that these people do. They stay up till like 3 or 4 a.m. It's crazy. I'm a day person. I got up at 5:30 in the morning. Today, for example, 5:30. That's how we do. If you want to get a lot of stuff done, you just got to get up earlier. So that the distractions of the world, or the news, or just people coming around, or your work schedule doesn't get in the way of what you want to do. Because everyone will distract you from your cause. Seems to be just a game of energy stealing. That's why when we get in and do this, like, it's actually Oh, there's my head again. Really meditative. You know, just spending time focusing. Normally I wouldn't be talking. I also wouldn't probably worrying too much about the time. But I got 50 seconds on the timer and half an hour to finish this total. And then we'll do a little compare on the screen, as is kind of the routine here. Maybe I'll sharpen the pencil in the next round. Kind of like how cartoony it's looking though. All right, this time we'll take a break. My body is sore. 5 minutes. And I'll check the camera setup here because I haven't been. And thanks for commenting, fellas. That's always nice. No people are out there. I figure, you know, just keep consistent. Keep doing it. And eventually people will catch on. But then again, would I sit and watch someone draw this long? Maybe. Maybe just have it on in the background. That's why earlier I tried to actually talk about something of interest, without talking about politics, religion, any of that stuff that pisses people off. All right, 4 minutes. That'd be a good time to take a little meditation break too. Whew. Alright, I'm gonna sharpen this pencil. It's just getting too dull. Too annoying. Good, good, good. Here's my sanding block. Sanding block. Sanders? Colonel Sanders? Ah. Get rid of that sanguine here. That's chalk from hell. I mean, it worked. not as fun as some of the other stuff. Garbage. Sometimes you just gotta make those sacrifices. I have so much art supplies, and yet I'm trying to save an inch long pencil. It's crazy talk. Alright, let's sharpen this bad boy before that alarm goes off. I'm using it. It's true. Oh, wait, give me a minute, guys. I'm so much better in the morning. My mind is mush right now. But I'm gonna just sharpen up this pencil. We'll do the last, whatever, 20 minutes or we'll get somewhere. We'll get somewhere. It's not perfect. I could keep working it, but I'm gonna leave this after. Just practice. I'm honestly surprised I'm still standing. I haven't had solid food in 3 days. And the third day of the cleanse is always the hardest one. And I've been up since 5:30 in the morning. So I tell you, after this, I'm going home and I'm sleeping like a baby. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. So I'm not drawing it like the tone drawings I did before. I'm still leaving the crosshatch in. Gotta get that arm in the back. Don't have any of that in either. So I'll just like get a little bit more value here and draw the arm in. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't see what time it is. I don't need my glasses to draw this small. Okay, and take off the mask. I'm the only one in here. I'm the only one in here. Brainwashed. Wearing a mask. Don't know why. Okay, so let's say 20 minutes instead of 25. Oh, 22. Whatever, it is what it is. I'll probably end it earlier, and then we'll do the comparison on the screen there. Side by each screen. I really want to lean forward here, but then this camera's not going to work. Wait. What if I tilt down? Is that better for you guys, maybe? It's getting to that kind of like detail state where I want to get closer to the paper. But the way the camera's set up today, it just puts my head in the way. So, you know, got the point now. Literally, I should have had the point the whole time. It makes such a difference when your tools are good. I guess I just couldn't be bothered today. So this contour is following the cylindricalness of the neck, the turn. Because the great thing about cross hatching is it can help you define the form. Make it have that bulge. Maybe that's what makes Michelangelo's paintings so good. He really understood how to crosshatch. And actually, I'll say that I should have known that, but we see them from far away, but frescoes are painted like tempera. They are actually most likely just crosshatched up there. You don't blend the paint like you do with oil in a fresco. So if you could get up that close to them, you would just see that they were just a bunch of cross-hatched lines. Tone and cross-hatched lines. Like a color, I mean, not tone. Huh. So maybe this is worthwhile study then. I always just do, like for crosshatch, I just did whatever. I never learned a right way or the directions to go. There's probably rules. Like I find like money is weird because it's like the crosses are where you want the line to go. So you're going perpendicular, I guess, to where you would think the lines would go. You're not going against the form or across the form. You're going diagonal to that so that the crosses follow the form. Does that make sense? Yeah, sharpened pencil, much nicer feathered lines. Note to self, follow what you know is true instead of breaking all the rules. And yes, that was a rhyme. I rhyme all the time. I write in rhyme in my diary. It's messed up because in a way, I'm like, well, that's limiting your thoughts to having to find a word that rhymes all the time. It's not all the time, but it's pretty bad. Maybe I missed my calling as a white rapper. Oh man. Okay. So this is a striation in the deltoid. There's quite a few of them. It's a it's a unipennate muscle. So like pennate means feather, and those feathers are like interlocked, those feather shapes. I'm losing my own knowledge. Jeez. Okay. So this hatching is cross contour, but this hatching is matching the direction of the muscle fibers. That's the achromium process. This is a highlight. This is a highlight. To leave this as like that. Okay. It's looking pretty badass right now, I tell ya. Yeah, this pencil's so much nicer now. Note to self, use good materials. So that would probably have made a big difference in the last one too, the chalk. If I had actually sharpened it how I do my charcoal, because I could have get lines like this, little tiny ones. It was pretty dull. But this is the first one of the new year, so we'll just say good enough, right? Got permission to suck sometimes. Let's get this other arm in here. We got 15 minutes. We are doing okay. It's a big bicep. Geez, Michelangelo is calling it in on this one. Not a good drawing. Jeez. Maybe I'm out to lunch. That's probably what it is. There we go. Forearm. Bicep deltoid. It's like G.I. Joe arms here. That does not seem like Michelangelo. But, you know, not all the masters always did good drawings. My friend Melissa, she went to Italy and she specialized, I guess, in her art history degree with Michelangelo. And she got to go to this church. Michelangelo had like locked himself in the catacomb or the basement or whatever, and he did drawings with lamp soot, and they're actually pretty bad. But they're still down there, and you can see them on the internet if you look it up. Imagine if we were judged by our worst things. Jeez. That's why I don't have kids. Oh boy. Okay, I don't know what's going on here with this hand. This looks Ninja Turtle-y for sure. So, wow, it really does look Ninja Turtle-y. I don't even know how to make that look better. It is what it is. Let's see about just doing a little bit of enhancements around. Just get things a little bit darker here and there. All in all, I think it's good enough. Pretty happy. I'm tired. So I don't think I'm going to be at this much longer. I'm just squinting my eyes though, in order to see what might have been missed. It's got to look good enough, right? For the old social media, because people might wonder where I've been or where I am going to be while I'm off this month. Cleansing. It's weird, there's like a stain right there in the reproduction that I have. Can't copy that. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. So, just give me a minute. We'll use the last 10 minutes to look at these works. I just got to put them both up on the screen and remove what else I have going on here. Then we'll go up there. Maybe we'll do the recline next week, and I'll sharpen the pencils. I'll show that recline as well, I guess. Okay, so we did this one. We might do this one next week. And what about, where's the other one? This one. Okay. Ladies and jelly beans, reptiles and rapscallions, I stand before you and sit behind you to tell you something I know nothing about. Let me adjust the camera. Yowzers. Yeah. It's like death metal. Don't look at the painting. It's not done yet. Okay. That should be good enough, right? Good enough? Good enough. Okay. Wow, it looks like chaos through this screen. Let me just move this. Hey! Oh, here I am. Here's the guy who's been drawing and talking the whole time. I'll just move the mic too. Okay, let's grab this bad boy. So we'll start with the first puppy. Hopefully it's still there. Let's look at how much chalk came off. Nothing, because I hairsprayed it. Alright. Where's that freaking clip? Where's the freaking clip? A little chaotic in here. Wow. Okay, I want to stand back and I'll just yell because I don't know, I haven't had a really good look at this thing myself. They look about the same size. Let me just go back. We'll analyze. Oh, Lord almighty. Okay, I wasn't liking it. The toes, I was right, the toe's too big. I don't have the lean correct in my shoulder. The right shoulder's a little too high, I think. It's like the leg is too long as well. I've got, it's like my, I mean, it's not exact. My guy's thinner and longer. Look. Right? What? It's even longer. Okay, and I mean, that's the size it is on the screen right now. The marks are a lot smaller, especially in here. Like, they're barely scratches, and I was just using the corner. And I think I got the white in the right places. I mean, I'm on this tan paper, and I was inspired because this parchment is just as aged. I mean, it's as close to white as whatever it was at the time. Whoa, watch it. Oh, shit. The painting's wet. Okay, so that's the first one. 3 sittings. Very nice. And then, let me just go to the computer quick here. I'm like wobbling around like an old man. It's hard to get, this space is really cramped right now. Okay, that's the one I want to do next week maybe. But let's look at this bad boy. So, I mean, I've got them almost screen size. Let's see how we did here. There's a stain here. And just this beautiful modeling. And look at this hand. It's like a crab hand. That's a good one. He was so good at like the forearms and stuff. So let's get this guy up. Oh, it's up here. Okay. And I'm going to step back so that I can have a view of it too. Maybe have a sip here. Okay, let's go in. Whoop. Yeah, my head is a little small. Once again, my legs are too thin. What is going on, Bunny? Something going on where I'm not doing the masses right. This is like a funnel, and this is not. This should be like this. Boo! You know, usually I'm making so the back leg looks all right. That front leg, maybe his butt's not low enough too. Let me just do the over the top thing. Wait. It's not see-through, but this is just a check-in. You gotta be brutally honest with yourself. It can be painful. Can we see through it? Ow! No, my idea is not righteous. Maybe if the lights were off. So, the knee's too low. Somehow it just got too long. Like, wait, the knee should have been right there. My guy does not look as awesome. The head's smaller. The arm looks pretty much the same, like lengthwise. I could grow that a little bit more. But yeah, the legs did not turn out at all. Bad boy. So I get to leave on a loss. But like I said, and you saw it, you know, practice just for fun. Studying. I wasn't using any measuring, I just drew. Which that's probably why you see a lot of distortions there. Not making excuses. It is what it is. I did 2 tonight, and I'm happy about that. Although I kind of lost my mind in the beginning. I was losing the names of all the muscles and a little bit hard. But I hope the talk about art from prehistory to now, how it went from spiritual to mechanical and materialistic and egotistical, back to transformative, brings up a conversation. I'm not saying it's right or whatever, it's just my opinion. Maybe because I struggle because I want to be able to do something really realistic and the quality and the craftsmanship is respected, but I still want the freedom of being able to do what we do today, what we're allowed to do as artists, rather than just be constrained by what an atelier can do. I still want to spray paint bright, sparkly things and still have a good time. So for me, it's like marrying those things together. I am working on my tarot card series finally. That's been like a decade in the making. There's one right here, but I'm not going to show it to you yet. And really freeing myself up again and not being so like, oh, it has to be perfect, has been really hard for me because I've been teaching so long. It's like I have something to prove. And I don't know, it takes the happiness away. So I'm really trying to refine what my art is. And I think that this process of this series, 78 some odd paintings, will get me there in the end, in 2 or 3 years. But for now, it's a little bit awkward. But I'm looking forward to being able to share something because already it's nothing what I had planned or thought it was going to be. Okay, that being said, thank you all for joining me. I have no idea when we're going to open again. Next Tuesday, Hinshaw will be talking on behalf of the province, and maybe C-Space will open again. As for right now, it's just me in the studio. I'm allowed 2.5 people in here, and sometimes there's a dog in here. I guess that's the 0.5. But I'd love questions, comments, concerns. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's like I've done this before. Anything to help this YouTube algorithm. You know, I've been on YouTube for 10 or 15 years, and I get not that many views. I don't know how these guys who've been on here for 1 or 2 years, they get millions of views. I know that this art thing's not going to do it, but if you can or know anyone, can share it around, it would be really great to get a little momentum. This is the school channel, but I also have a personal channel, which is much wackier. I think that's it for now, guys. I'm tired. I can't wait to go to sleep. Have a fantastic week ahead. Next week, some other study, all the way into February in preparation for that talk. So who knows? I tried not to do Bouguereau today, but I just want to say have a great night. Ciao for now. And this is my fade to black.